All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to In the Trenches with Dr. Tammy. Let me just say, it has been a very, very busy week. Feeling a little tired, giving myself grace yet again this week. I am hoping that you are doing the same. What we're doing in this episode is a little near and dear to my heart, but it is piggybacking off of last week's episode. As you will recall, last week we discussed what men consider to be wife material. So this week, I spoke with the ladies. The ladies came with some information that they wanted me to share. I'm going to do my best to do just that and to share with you their thoughts on what they believe to be husband material, as well as what some of you have asked of me with regard to my belief on husband material. It may or may not align with some of the things that the other ladies have said, and that's okay because each and every one of us have an individual opinion about what is important to us when it comes to that person who we would like to have in our lives. So let's jump right in. Our first lady says that to her, husband material means that the man must already be in the mindset of a husband before she ever meets him. She goes on to say that this means that not only does he want to have a wife, but he knows without a shadow of a doubt that he wants to be a husband. She shared with me that if said man knows that he wants to be a husband, that he is going to do every single thing within his power to be a good husband to her. Next, we heard someone say that her person, the one she would desire as husband material, would be one who is a listener. He actively listens to what she has to say. She continued by saying that he is not listening to respond. He is listening to receive the information and truly, truly care about what she's feeling and thinking of ways that he may be able to assist her. This young lady continued to say that if he is truly listening to her, he will, without a shadow of a doubt, want to take some of the load off of her. Doesn't mean, in her opinion, that he's going to take over everything that may be stressing her or removing those things from her life, but he may actually have suggestions about how she could proceed differently. He may even be able to ask or even suggest that he assist. And that is what she is looking for. Someone who will say, I heard you. I receive what you're saying. How can I help? Next, the lady says to me, I want someone who is mentally, emotionally, and spiritually available to me. All of those things are extremely important to her. She feels as if in her past relationships, her partner was not available to her in all of those ways. She continued on to say, and this is one of my favorite parts of what she had to say, that finances are not that big on her list of things. And those of you who know me know that finances are the very last thing that I ever look at when it comes to having a partner, because there are so many other things that are much more important than the finances. You may ask, do you want him to have a job? Well, we'd like for him to have some income coming in and a plan of action for continuing to have income. But does he need to be rich? Absolutely not. He just needs to have a game plan. And that is what she's saying. And I would have to say that I agree with that. That you come with whatever you have going on, and then we can build upon that. That's where I stand. So kudos to her for saying finances are not the be all end all for her. Right there with you, sister. Next, we have a young lady who says he must be consistent daily. And I was so tickled when I read her notes because she wrote daily in all caps. She sent me this via email and I was tickled because I understood what she meant. Inconsistency is very difficult when you're trying to build something special with someone. When you're trying to grow, when you're trying to move beyond your initial talking phases and you're getting into what we would like to call a committed relationship and moving towards marriage, because remember, we're discussing husband material. She wants someone who is there, who shows up daily for her, who is there with her. And for me, I call that being in the trenches. I need someone who can dig deep with me every day on whatever level it is that we need to dig. Another young lady goes on to say, not only does she need consistency daily, she went on to say, now I know you know what daily means, but I want to add month after month after month, year after year. So the ladies aren't playing any games this time around, fellas. They're catching up with you from last week's episode. As we move forward, the next lady says, I need someone who brings clarity, not necessarily to my life, but in what he's saying and doing. His actions need to be clear. And she went on to say, he must be intentional about their relationship and about her. Meaning that everything that he's doing aligns with what they have communicated that they would like to have as a couple and the direction that they would like to go. As we continue, the next young lady says she wants healthy communication in the relationship. She continued by explaining to me that what she meant by this is that in her previous relationships, her partners provided what she would call one-way communication. And she explained this as they would tell her what they wanted her to hear, but would never allow her an opportunity to respond or participate in the conversation. So for her, she is in definite need of two-way communication, one in which she's able to receive what they're sharing with her, and in turn, she is giving information in which they receive as well, and the two will decide how to move forward with that information and continue to communicate in a positive manner that also leads them in the direction that they would like to go. Next, this lady says to me, Dr. Tammy, I don't know about you, but I need my husband to know God. I need to know for a fact that he believes in the Lord and that not only does he pray for himself, but he prays for me and he prays for us as a unit. I need him to be able to lead us And I sat there for a second and I understood that very clearly, because I too desire a man who can pray not only for himself, but to stand in the gap for me as well, and pray for me and pray for us. Our very last lady says that she needs a man who has a vision and a plan for the both of them. She has dated far too many men who, when they had conversations about their future, the man always sounded like this. So I'm going to do my best to do it the way she did it with me. When he would speak about the plans, he would say, I will buy a big house. I will have a car. I plan to have a job in which I can afford this or that, as opposed to what she was hoping he would say is, you know, when I get that promotion, I would like for us to look at maybe getting a different house. Or where would you like to live when I receive said promotion, or when I have X number of this, or when I am planning whatever it is that I'm planning it with you. That's what she wanted. That is what she needed. And I think that for so many of us, both men and women, when we talk to our partners, it's sometimes very difficult for us to say, hey, you know what? I really, really would like to have this. Or what we fail to do very often is say, I need, because we do have needs. We need to share with our person exactly what we need. And it's okay to use those words. It is okay when you're talking to your person that you're in a committed relationship with. It is okay to say, babe, what I really need from you is this. Or I would like for you to do this or to do that. And share that as openly as possibly you can. Talk to them in a way that's not offensive. That's very important. Share with them that you're just sharing your needs, and that's it. I guess it's my turn. Husband material for me. Yes, he must know the Lord. I need him to pray for me, pray for us, pray for our families. That leads me to number 2. He has got to be somebody's father. If he has children, I need to know that he is in their lives and that he's doing everything he can to be a positive role model for them. Because Lord knows if he loves his children, he is more than likely, as he needs to, you heard me say need, also love mine. Because I have children. And if you're going to be my potential lifelong partner, children have to be loved. Mine and yours, so that we can have a wonderful blended family. I need a communicator. I need someone who will talk to me and not at me. I need him to be able to hear what I'm saying, and I am going to do my very, very best to do the same thing. I know I have so much trouble sometimes. I have so much I want to say, so I find myself having to take a moment so that I can do what I'm asking of my partner, and that is actively listen, hearing and receiving what he has to say. And I need for us to do that in a positive light, not one that's condescending, not one that has voices raised, but one in which we're talking as if I'm talking right now. Just a back and forth. Now we know there's going to be a disagreement at times, but if any of you have studied relationships or communication skills, there's a way you fight fair. That's a whole nother conversation, but back to husband material. I need consistency. Just like some lady said earlier, I need my person to not only be consistent, but intentional about me, about us, about the direction that we're headed. Any plans that are being made once we are committed, those, in my belief, should be plans for the both of us. And we can agree on those things together. Remember, though, people are going to need to compromise. And I think there's sometimes where we as human beings fall short. Sometimes we push our needs above the other without realizing that, hey, if I compromise here and he compromises there, we can come to a happy medium, something that works for both of us. Now, I need him to know that I'm a talker. Please don't tune me out. Please don't tune me out because I can talk a lot, as you all know. Once I get going and I'm passionate about something, it's all coming out. So just listen or say, hey, babe, I need a second. Can we come back to that in just a minute? Not a problem. Husband material for me is someone who definitely makes me a priority, which means I need his time. And I say that because I am a very busy person these days. And if I can make the time to prioritize him, I need the same. Because what I've learned is that if something is important to you, you will most definitely make the time. And if somebody can make time for you, that lets you know just how near and dear to their hearts that you are, especially someone who's an extremely busy schedule. There are those of us who are working really hard. You might be an entrepreneur. You might be working 2 or 3 jobs. And if you can make the time for someone, that speaks volumes. Speaks volumes. Lastly, for me, outside of affection, because I'm a very affectionate person, please hold my hand. I need that. I like a good hug. A really, really good hug. Yes, works for me. But what I want to say mostly for me is so that people understand it. I am not moved by money at all. Finances are at the very bottom of the list for me. Yes, I'd like for him to have a job of some sort, whether he's an entrepreneur or the mailman or whatever the position may be. If he has income coming in and working towards whatever goals he has, and I can support those goals and he can do vice versa, I'm good. I'm good there because there are so many more things important to me, such as honesty, loyalty, you know, being true to me and our relationship, committed to only me. Those things are more important to me than the money. And if we work together as a power couple, the money will come. So that's where Dr. Tammy stands on husband material. You heard it here today. You heard what the ladies had to say. You heard what I had to say. I want to say thank you yet again for joining me on In the Trenches with Dr. Tammy. I am happy and grateful for you tuning in each week. Happy Friday. See you next week.